Hey folks, hello, hello. Hope you guys are doing well. Has anybody traveled on Air Transat? Because I certainly haven't. I've known people that have actually just a couple of days ago met somebody that booked Air Transat $250 or $200 ticket from Halifax to, or maybe even Montreal. Yeah, Montreal to somewhere in Europe. I can't remember. I just remember the pricing was 200 and they were very sort of giddy about it, which was great. And I thought to myself, hey, you know what? I've done, in fact, a few years ago that I mentioned the $200 reminds me that about 10, 12 years ago, maybe around that 2013, 2014 time, Priya and I went on a $200, $216 ticket return on Air Canada. It was a mistake fare, of course. And we were able to book that economy, Air Canada economy, to Paris on Valentine's, which is why I remember this trip. And yeah, totally booked it because at that time I was like, hey, just getting there is amazing. And to pay 216 or whatever it was, 220 maybe, was amazing. So paid $500 to get us both to Paris and back, which was fantastic. And on our way back, as it used to work out in those days, got upgraded, operational upgrade from economy to premium economy, which was fantastic, especially considering that was a mistake fare that I had booked. Um, so yeah, when I was hearing the excitement by this individual about a $200 fare to Europe, I could think back to a few years ago. And I thought to myself, if I got that 200 or $250 deal to Europe today, would I be as willing to quickly jump on it and go to Europe? The answer should be yes. And I know this may sound surprising to some of you, perhaps, maybe not this immediate community, the ones that have logged in, maybe the ones that listen to it after. I would, I hesitate these days just because just don't find economy travel as fun and as pompous as that sounds. It just seems like, you know, I could pay about that much in taxes and still go, and points, of course, quite a bit of points, and still go in relative comfort. So that lack of excitement from my end is what I had to sort of do a bit of a double take on. Like, you know what I mean? It was almost like a privilege check. I was like, am I really not excited about this story about a $200 ticket to Europe? And why is the case? Anyways, long story short, I suppose I was happy for them, but I just walked away from that conversation thinking, you couldn't get me on an economy flight to Europe even for $200. And I felt so bad. And I don't know why I was feeling bad, but it just felt very privileged and pompous and weird thinking that. Uh, so yeah, just throwing it out there. Anybody else feel the same? Or you guys agree that I'm a dumbass and I should be excited about these $200 deals? What would you do? Would you be as excited? Would you just book and leave? Uh, or would you still be like, you know what? I've worked hard to earn my points and miles, and I rather invest in that and not have to worry about flying in economy at all. Let's see some of these comments that have come in. Uh, Anyways, what was the point of this entire? Oh yeah, Air Transat. So, anyways, Air Transat was being spoken about a couple of days ago, and sure enough, Air Transat was back in my brain space today when I literally 5 or 10 minutes ago learned that they're launching a couple of new routes, one out of Ottawa to Gatwick. We'll talk about that in a couple of minutes, but let's see what folks here are saying. Heather says not flown Air Transat since 2011. Ayman says flew them to Cancun and Orlando. MCO is Orlando. Nice. How was it, Ayman? Would you, where would you peg them at? Like, is it the same as flying economy in usual legacy carriers, or is there something different? Is there something off, something that we should look forward to? I just wonder, what do they have anything different that they offer in either cabins? And I'm assuming it's all economy with some premium economy style seats up front, similar to what I guess Porter offers in that economy plus, without being a full Porter Reserve kind of because Porto Reserve is very polished. That sort of, and we've spoken so much about that. Porto Reserve has a very polished product. I wonder where it stands in that hierarchy of economy travel or even economy plus kind of travel. Heather says, did Vancouver, Amsterdam, $500 return. Nice. Oh, okay. I'm gives a really good parallel. It says it's like flying Air Canada Rouge with the internet IFE in-flight entertainment system. Oh, that's nice. That's not bad. I mean, Rouge I do find cramped, but at least if there is IFEs in there and you bring enough of your own device and battery and whatnot, that's not bad. If I yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly, Heather. Heather says 200 then versus now is not just inflation, but also life stage. 100% agreed. Plus economy before I knew better. Yeah. Ayman says he's laughing at my comments about feeling bad and privileged at my non-excitement. So he says, haha, we are spoiled. Heather agrees. Alex says economy sucks. I do economy for positioning flights out of Winnipeg to connect to FNJ. And then this summer I had to go semi last minute to Barcelona. So booked Newark, Barcelona in economy. I could survive 7 hours on United 777-300. Man, it was miserable. I regretted it. Alex says never again. Economy 4 hours of 4 hours or less only. Otherwise, business or first economy. Heather says economy flow for flights under 5 hours. Timbo is here too. Hi, Timbo. Timbo says, I don't think we are part of this group for $200 flights to Europe. I agree, Timbo. I'm glad you said it. I'm glad somebody that's a little more senior than I am said it simply because I felt like, am I being grouchy? Just because a young person is so excited about a $200 ticket to Europe. But I'm kind of happy to read these comments because it sort of validates why I felt the way I felt. But the weird part was that I definitely walked away feeling all kinds of confused at my non-excitement. But now I know that I wasn't too far off from my core feelings because everybody else, at least here, seems to be saying the same things. Hyman says the things I like about Air Transat is punctuality. Rest is the same as Air Canada Rouge. Basically, it's a leisure airlines after all. Yeah. Jackie says I did Japan Airlines economy, LAX to NRT, so LA to Japan last year. Got lucky, no one was next to me. Amy says never flew Air Transat before. Economy is okay if daytime flight back from Europe. If within 7 to 8 hours, no thanks for evening and red eye though. You're more brave than I am, Amy. For me, to be honest, a red eye seems a little easier in the few times I've done it, even in the recent past. Where was I? Coming back from Barbados on that Rouge flight. Either it was a super early or super late flight. And then one JetBlue flight that I did daytime. Yeah, it was the same trip. A JetBlue flight from New York to Barbados during the day. And it was perhaps a 4 hour flight. Somebody can check what that flight timing, like what the timing is or the number of hours for that route is. And on the way back, though, it was Rouge and it was late in the evening. So it was definitely a red eye kind of situation. And I found the red eye to be much easier. Again, that was because I sleep super easily. So boarded, I didn't even make any meal or anything like that, skipped right through and slept, I think, for most of the time. But on the day flight, JetBlue going from New York to Barbados, I remember trying to sleep. I couldn't sleep, and that was rough 4 hours just because I just couldn't sleep for whatever reason. Um, Let's talk about Air Transat new routes. So Air Transat has announced a string of sort of for next summer. So this is their summer schedule starting May. They're introducing a couple of new transatlantic flights, one from Quebec City to Marseille, and one from Ottawa to London Gatwick. Both of these starting around May 15th. The London Gatwick particularly is 3 times a week on Fridays, Sundays, and Tuesdays. So kind of spread evenly, a little bit heavier towards the end of the week, which bodes well for those that are trying to get to Europe for the weekend, long weekend, that kind of thing, and back on Tuesdays. So really good. Both of these flights are seasonal flights, May to October. They've also announced Montreal to a couple of destinations in Colombia, Cartagena and Medellin. but only one flight each week, Thursday. So the reason I'm kind of making that face is because any time there are flights, which is one flight a week, two flights a week, or I even worry about anything less than two, three flights a week. Not two. I think anything less than three flights a week worries me because anything goes off operationally, you kind of get stuck in that space for a little while. And I know this because this has happened to me back when we used to hop all around Africa. And the schedules were fairly restrictive for some of those flights and some of the countries we were traveling to. And we've gotten stranded in, say, a Zimbabwe or somewhere in Botswana or things like that. Or so I'll just put that out there. So Montreal to Cartagena or Medellin is going to be one flight a week on Air Transat. They also announced Montreal to Martinique, Point Epitre. I think that's how it's pronounced, but I could be fully wrong. Two flights a week. Montreal to San Jose is again two flights a week, and then of course Toronto also gets the one flight a week on Wednesdays to both destinations in Colombia, Cartagena, and Medellin. So good news for leisure travelers, and like Ivan pointed out, it is after all leisure travel. So not, but I mean, that said, these routes are great, but I think the frequency worries me a little bit. Ottawa, Gatwick, or Quebec City and Marseille is at least three times a week, spread enough times that even if operationally something was up, you won't be stuck for more than a day or so. Yeah, so putting it out there. Yeah, you're right. Amin says Air Canada has the Cartagena flight as well to Colombia or to Colombia from Montreal, which was announced not too long ago. And actually, they have the Martinique flight as well. They announced all of those as part of their winter schedule, Air Canada, that is. And I think Porter also announced a few that were going to Latin America, right? A lot of that repositioning out of the US cities. Operationally was being redirected to um, Europe and Latin America. Speaking of going places, anyone has Japan or in particular Kyoto on their travel bucket list or their travel list, I suppose, for 2026? If you do, unfortunately, I'm going to be bearing some bad news for you because starting May sometime, yeah, there we go. Ayman is on it. Ayman says taxes. Yeah, the occupancy tax is one of the pieces that has always existed uh, in Japan, but particularly in places like Tokyo and Kyoto and all of that. It used to be that even for the luxury hotels that were around $300 or more, if I remember correctly, that component of that tax was about six, $7 US, and this is all US quotations, right? The news that I found was also US quotation. So was used to be $7, but now starting March 1st, sorry, not May, March 1st, 2026. So if you were thinking Sakura is March, right? Or is it more February? I think it's March time. So anyways, beginning March 2026, beginning March 1st, 2026, that occupancy tax increase is going to hike up significantly. And this is to curb over tourism. And I don't know how successful this will be. It'll curb some level of tourism, but I don't think it'll completely stop it because because of the community that we're talking about, us. I'm going to flip the chart I have in front of me and talk about some of the more expensive properties. And this is particularly for Kyoto. Kyoto has already announced that this is going to happen starting March 1st. I would not be surprised if others like Tokyo and a couple of others follow suit if this strategy works for Kyoto. Hotels that are $600 or more, $655 or more, will incur a nightly occupancy tax of $65 per person. So it's not per night, it's per person. So if you're there with your family and uh, for a nice stay in a premium property in Kyoto, oof, your billing will be a little bit more than usual. So we are talking about 10% in this case, right? So $655 or more is incurring 65 per person. So if you were going yourself, it's 10%. And as you go, if it's a family of four going, even if you're booking one night, the fact that you're four people in there will get 65 times 4. That's how I understand it right now. And so, sort of one rung below that is hotels that are priced around $327 to $655 will incur $26 per person. So, again, very steep. And sort of that's the case from low tier hotels or low tier stays to premium stays, which I found was interesting. I don't know. I can't I can't think of any other place than India because in my experience, that is in my direct experience, India also does this thing called the luxury tax. And usually luxury taxes in India are about 20%. So that hasn't deterred anyone from visiting India. Like, you know what I mean? In India's case, it's the opposite. They're trying to make money of all the people that come there and splurge in luxury hotels. So they call it a luxury tax. And if you go to any of these four-star, five-star hotels in India, no matter where it is, Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, Hyderabad, all over the place, you'll always notice a component called luxury tax. And that's the tax these hotels have to pay to the government. So the hotels simply pass it down to you. Um, and that often is about 18 to 20% is the luxury tax. Uh, and that hasn't deterred anybody yet because anybody that can afford uh, sort of to pay $600 a night is going to, I suppose the thinking is, will be okay to pay additional 10% or more, 10 to 20 to 30%, depending on how many people you're traveling with. Um, so, yeah, there's that. So if, I can't think of the only other example I can think of that has helped a little bit to curb sort of over tourism is hiking up sort of experience prices of the actual experience itself. So I'm thinking Rwanda, what Rwanda did for gorilla trekking and stuff. They did two things. They incorporated limited number of passes that they would allow. So you have to have those permits, not passes, permits. So in a season, you only get so many permits to go up the mountains, to go see the gorilla families and whatnot. And also, it used to be sort of fairly cheap, like between $30 to $40, and then they increased that to like $500. So now somebody can quickly look it up. I think last time I looked it up was 350 US or something like that, very close to 500 Canadian. Uh, and that has worked is because the number of permits they have is limited. But in other cases, I don't think just increasing a little bit of the occupancy tax has deterred tourism. Let me know what you think about this. I find it fascinating, and I understand why they're trying to do what they're trying to do, especially in Japan, because, like I said, even a couple of streams ago, it seems to be everybody and their cat is headed to Japan these days, at least since COVID days. As soon as Japan opened up, they haven't seen, this kind of tourism in eons. Japan was always popular, but whatever has happened since COVID days, it's just has opened the floodgates for them in not so good ways, I suppose, in some of these areas. So yeah, that's happening. Um, Alex, nice. Alex has just came back from there this past weekend. How was the uh, crowding situation, Alex? Is it still crowded? This is kind of the shoulder season, right? So did you find that it was a little more eased up, or was it still packed across for your schedule? Alex says people will just stay in Osaka and do day trips to Kyoto unless Osaka ups taxes too. Fair point. Fair point. Alex says a story I came across on Instagram was from a Japanese influencer travel agent, and they said that Japanese tourism department does a bad job of encouraging tourists to go other places besides Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka. Found that interesting. Yeah, I think there's so many issues at play here, right? Both micro and macro. I think the big one from my perspective is just this idea of influencers. Because they have promoted it so well, and I mean, Japan has got such great stories that people have to share. And I don't mean stories as an Instagram story. So many great stories of tourism and travel within Japan in these bigger cities like Tokyo or Kyoto or Osaka, that it's easy. And I think your mainstream tourist also tries to stick to bigger cities simply because it is slightly easier to navigate bigger cities than it might be if you went to a remote location or a smaller town or tier two or tier three city. Not that it can't be done. We are now seeing something similar happening in Vietnam, where tourism was so sort of packed into two or three locations like Ho Chi Minh, Saigon, maybe Da Nang, and now we are seeing the Hoi Ans of the world and the other few places that are popping up in Vietnam uh, getting traction from the tourists. So I think there is something there. To your point, Alex, that if they invest, people will go. The investment needs to come. I just don't know how quickly that can happen for a country like Japan. And of course, there's all kinds of macroeconomic things at play here as well in terms of priority, in terms of other things that the country needs to address. But yeah, fully agree that. Fully agree that to that one angle where maybe Japanese tourism is not doing such a great job in attracting people to go beyond those two, three bigger cities. But this entire generation of travelers that have been seeing Instagram or TikTok reels, if during COVID and beyond, if that is what made the impression on you, a lot of that TikTok and influencer inspired tourism is again like layering on top of what that usual tourist would have been anyways, which is to these bigger city centers like Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, uh, right? So yeah, it's not like getting from one place to the other is a big issue in Japan. Their rail network is fairly strong. You could go to Hokkaido or a couple of other towns and areas that are not as populated. But I think it's the infrastructure in terms of having hotels, in terms of having people that would work there in hospitality, in terms of having all the other stuff that goes just beyond having rail connectivity. That can take a while. And we're talking about a very short period of time. We're still only in 2025. And if you think that things opened up, I don't know when Japan opened up. I know it was a little bit later than others. But let's say even 2022, late 2022, we're talking within 2 to 3 years' time, not even a full 3 year time, they're suffering under this over tourism in a whole new way. So I can see where things, even for a country as efficient as a Japan, things can take a while to build newer tourism centers. Anthony says, AI overview. Oh, Anthony, as per AI, in Rwanda, the cost of single gorilla trekking permit is 1,500. See, this is what I mean. It was okay. There we go. So I was about to say my data point is probably about 8 years ago, right? So my last trip was 2015, so 10 years ago, and I remember it being around that $500 mark. So now it's 1,500. Oof, good. That's how it should be. And there's a lot that can be said about equity that it doesn't allow people more than looking out for human equity in this case. I rather look out for the animals' welfare and their habitat and their ecosystem. So unfortunately, if it has to be limited permits, I think the more you limit the permits, the more these prices will hike up. That's the cost we pay for ruining their ecosystem to a point where now we need to have permits at $1,500 a piece going in to see some of the gorillas. Alex says we did a few main sites in Kyoto, Bamboo Monkey Forest, and it was very manageable. The other major sites we did on a previous trip. So the rest of the spots we went to weren't packed at all, and staying at the Western Kyoto helps by being outside of the major tourist areas. In Tokyo, it's what you would expect from a city of 30 million, and even Disneyland was very manageable. Yeah, and I think it's a good time to go, Alex, and you can correct me if that's wrong because this is the shoulder season, just past that, the main travel seasons for Japan. So good to know that it was manageable for you. Alex says, I was in Japan in 23 and was there recently 2 weeks ago. And one thing that stood out that Japan started having public trash bins in touristy areas, Osaka food area where the Gilko man is. I remember my first time in 23, I had a bottle of water I wanted to throw out and hung on to for about 2 hours before going into a 7-Eleven to throw it out. Yeah, and those are simple infrastructure issues that can be managed. Some glad to hear that that's being done at least noticeably. Uh, Alex continues and says we noticed major tourist spots as well. Couple of hotel promotions. Amex Canada has a nice little 50% bonus across the month of October for any points you want to transfer over to Hilton Honors, which I think is a strong offering, especially in Canada where we don't have as many co-brand cards. So if you were looking to go to Japan or all of the other fun places that we have spoken about so far, and if there is a Hilton property, this might be a good way to do it, is to transfer some of your Amex membership rewards. Maybe not for this community, but at least for Hilton members across Canada that don't have easy access to Hilton points, to earning Hilton points through co-brand cards. This is a great opportunity for you to transfer with a 50% bonus towards a very specific redemption. And I keep coming back to my thing about wanting to try out the Under the Canvas brand that is now SLH, which is tied up with Hilton now since they broke away from Hyatt. Um, what I'm seeing with Hilton more recently in a few things that I've been doing searches for is that typical mid-tier property, at least here in North America, across the board, seems to have lost a lot of its redemption value because it's still too expensive on points because of the dynamic nature of things, not worth using points when you compare that to cash. Of course, like I've mentioned before, if you rather keep the cash in your pocket, then you shouldn't dwell too much on your value of the point. But I feel like that big middle chunk has eroded significantly, both with Hilton and Marriott. Um, where we still consistently find value in redemptions is, of course, towards the lower end properties and the higher end properties. On the higher side, we've now seen some Waldorf Astorias and the others reach as much as 150 or even 200,000 points, which is sadness. But there is still value to be had when you compare that to total cash value, where it could be $250 or $2,500 for some of these premium properties in that portfolio, or perhaps more importantly for the ones that if you're going hopping around and you don't mind trying out some of the lower tier properties, say in Asia and whatnot, there's lots of great value in redeeming your Hilton points for lower tier properties. Um, yeah, and if you're keeping your membership rewards in Canada sacred for any airline redemptions only, then and if you still need some Hilton points, well, there is the Hilton points promotion is on right now. The usual 100% bonus here. Actually, I have my link here for once because every time I talk about a points promotion, I remember a little Heather is in my ear saying, "Hey, where's your link?" So Heather, this time I did a little bit better and brought my link with me. So Hilton Points promotion or the 50% or 100% bonus promotion, which comes down to like zero point 0.5 cents a piece if you wanted to do that. Amy says Under Canvas is an amazing experience and they can accommodate even a family in their tents for a small fee and they can add an extra cot. Nice. Good to know. I actually was very tempted. We were really hoping to do it this year, Amy, but unfortunately, as we decided that we'll stick to the Canadian East Coast. We were trying to plan our summer things early in the year, and that's when I came across Under Canvas. Such a great sort of concept, and I hope Under Canvas can spread into Canada as well, because Canada and its landscape is rife for a company like that, which can offer luxury glamping. Actually, this is Under Canvas. When I started looking for those, I don't know if you noticed during my summer travels, I eventually did one of these glamping bubbles, Airbnb stays. Airbnb has experiences and whatnot in their thing, and that's where I found them. But if SLH or other mainstream properties that are partnering and doing this through the Under Canvas brand, if they can come into Canada, that would be awesome. I think Under Canvas has one property in Canada, I think. I forget where it is, somewhere in Ontario maybe, and that wasn't what we were looking for. But I hope it sort of, you know, keep it sort of expands and Canadians can have a good access to that as well. Oh, is Under Canvas with Hyatt? My bad. My bad. Apologies. I kept thinking it was with SLH and Hilton, but it looks like it's a Hyatt thing. Hilton recently also invested in another. I mean, these hotels are not up yet. Somebody will have to look it up. Uh, Forget what they're called, but they recently announced this new partnership with a chain of hotels that they're going to build around national parks. Moab National Park is one of the first ones this hotel chain will be. I don't know what it's called, but I do remember reading about them. Looks very similar. It's not a luxury glamping kind of thing, but the fact that these unique boutique places are now being made available is just a reflection of what the membership demands has been. And I particularly, be it a Hilton or a Hyatt and whatnot, I do my very best to stay away from those mainstream brands, unless I'm going for business, of course, and have to be at a specific place. But try and stay away from these mainstream cookie cutter brands, and I pay more attention and oftentimes a little bit happy to pay a little bit more money to accommodate in these niche experiences like Under Canvas and such. AutoCamp, Amy, is that what it's called? With Hilton, right? Ah, cool. So it's the same company. Under Canvas is so sorry. Amy says Under Canvas with Hyatt and AutoCamp with Hilton. Is AutoCamp the same concept as Under Canvas, or is it a different thing? Okay, Heather confirms there's no Canadian locations. Under Canvas is all American locations. Uh, nice. AutoCamp. Yeah, probably AutoCamp is the one that I'm thinking of, which was the Moab one that got announced recently. Yeah, similar, but Under Canvas is more luxurious, says Amy. Okay. Nice. Yeah, and like I said, that's where I've been focusing my stays on more experience side of things. So suits the kind of travel I want to do these days. Well, and so similar to the Hilton opportunity, I suppose a 15% bonus if the Hilton one is from Amex Canada to Hilton, 50% bonus for transfer, or you can purchase, like I said. But on the Marriott side, Marriott actually has a promotion running right now. If you wanted to convert your Marriott points into Aeroplan, you get an additional 15% bonus. So the typical transfer 60,000, get the additional 5,000, 60,000 Bonvoy points, and you get the additional 5,000 airline points. So you get for every 60,000 you transfer, you get 25,000 airline miles. And in this case, you'll get the 25,000 plus an additional 15% if you were transferring to Aeroplan. Again, a good way to top up for members that may not have other access. But here in Canada, just Aeroplan is flush with options in terms of where you could get your points through credit card, co-brand credit card acquisitions and such, unlike the Hilton scenario. So I don't know how many people are actively moving Bonvoy points towards Aeroplan. I'm a big fan of moving Bonvoy points towards flight programs, don't get me wrong, but I rather do it for other niche programs like an Alaska or an American, where I don't have as much option here in Canada to earn them through a co-brand card. But in comparison with Aeroplan, I have so much option that I don't think I'll be as willing to take them on even with this 15% promotion. But the 15% bonus is a 15% bonus. And if you were going to move your points, then may as well do it with the 15% bonus promotion, right? And again, much like Hilton, if you were in there looking for a chunk of Marriott points because you were redeeming towards one of these really niche redemptions and needed a few more points, they also have their purchase promotion on right now with up to 40% bonus. And that bonus promotion will remain for a couple of months because it's available until December 7th. And this one I did write about today, so it's on the website. The Marriott 40% bonus promotion is on the website right now if you wanted to click through there and make your purchase if you were going to purchase. Obviously, it has affiliate links, so I make a little bit of money out of it. So thank you for your support as usual. Uh, yeah, so those were the two hotel promotions that I thought had some credence because it was I think in my mind, it's geared towards people that don't have easy access to these points, be it Hilton points here in Canada, or be it maybe an Aeroplan program for a lot of people in the US, perhaps, or other parts of the world where they don't have easy access to Aeroplan. They can easily transfer their Bonvoy to Aeroplan with the 15% bonus. Yeah, Amy says Bonvoy to United. Oh yeah, Bonvoy to United also has a 25% bonus right now. Hey, look, another program that you could do if you are looking for United points. Do it through the Bonvoy thing with a 25% bonus. That's a solid promotion. Again, in my mind, or at least in my portfolio, because there's such a heavy overlap of partners, overlap of routes and such between a United and Aeroplan. My preferred program continues to be Aeroplan. I do like United though. United as a program, United search capabilities are much stronger. So sometimes you can search for a lot many days on the United uh, website. As I'm saying this, I'm like, but why wouldn't you do it through a Seats.aero or one of the other programs? So I don't know. So if you are short on United, I guess you could do United as well, especially for folks that are here in Canada and don't have access to United. That's still a good way of doing it. Yeah, and Jackie says United has better availability for Polaris now with their credit card. Fair enough. Um, like I said, with the recent searches, and I don't do as much, I don't seek out Polaris as much, but I have sort of flown on Polaris quite a bit now with my recent trips to Australia and that trip back from Europe where things didn't work out. I mean, I had canceled, I missed my flight and whatnot. So yeah, I don't mind the Polaris product particularly. And yes, if you were looking for Polaris product, what better program than a United to book out, at least if you were hunting down Sabre Award situation. Anthony says, how's United availability on partner airlines versus Aeroplan? Just curious. Uh, because Aeroplan and United are now on that sort of preferred partner route, from what I'm told, I this is not anecdotal because I haven't just done enough searches, but from what we are being told by the program managers in at Aeroplan is that United they are able to offer pretty much everything that United puts out for partners, and because now they're on dynamic scale with Aeroplan, United is more than happy to give that space to an Aeroplan versus to other partners where they may be, where they may make less money on those seats, if that makes sense to you. So we are being told that it is in fact working as a preferred partner, and we should be seeing more availability and better availability of United on Aeroplan uh, compared to other partners where this preferred availability may not be a setup. So, Anthony, I don't know if that answers your question, but just a way to say that in theory, we should see lots of United availability. Every time I've searched, I was looking for something in Dubai, and a lot of New York, Dubai was showing, Newark, Dubai was showing up on United. A lot of my India flights often show out of United from Newark when I'm searching on Aeroplan. So yeah, there is availability and it's showing up on United. I found last minute Polaris bookings out of LAX coming back into SFO. I mean, to Australia, I mean, between Australia and the West Coast. So I, from the searches I've done, which is obviously not extensive, I've found enough United results on Aeroplan to suggest that, you know what, things have improved in terms of United availability on Aeroplan, and they're readily showing up now. Quickly go through a couple of our one more topic, and then we'll talk about Lufthansa Allegris, I promise, Allegris product. This one was a complete surprise to me. Thai Airways has announced that it'll be launching lie flat seats in premium economy. Not in premium economy. They're calling it premium economy plus. And these are lie flat seats, not in a business class, which really caught a lot of people's attention, including mine. And this was announced on a Facebook post. I think I read it on Boarding Area. One of the bloggers wrote about this. Perhaps Matthew Clint wrote about this in one of his recent blogs. Anyways, I looked up the news news piece on Thai Airways. There was nothing much beyond that one Facebook post. But the good news is the routes that it is serving is mostly regional. So yeah, lie flat seats is typically attributed to business class cabins. And the picture that they have of the lie flat seats are is notoriously similar to what an Virgin Atlantic would have in their upper class, or what Air New Zealand would have in the reverse herringbone seats, right? So it was the configuration of that seat is like that, and it's a lie flat seat. The routes that they're planning to launch this very soon is Bangkok to Chennai, Hyderabad, both in India, Dhaka, Bangladesh, Jakarta, and Kathmandu. So very regional, so sort of not very long flights, but the fact that this option will be available for folks that are flying on Thai Airways to these particular cities is a great option. The way they had worded their Facebook post, it says upgrade yourself to. And so it may be one of those where you only get to upgrade in cash, kind of like what Oman Air is now doing with their X first class. It's called business class, whatever, plus, I suppose. And the only way to get in there is to pay for an upgrade. So maybe that's what they're alluding to, that these seats will be available on a paid basis only. I don't think there will be this distinction. Say, if I was redeeming out of Aeroplan, I don't think these seats will be made available as a thing on its own. We might, I mean, you probably will have to redeem for economy or purchase your economy ticket, and the only way to try these new lie flat premium economy plus seats is by purchase. But again, a lot of unknowns. We'll just have to wait and see how it comes through. But yeah, found it interesting that one airline was promoting a lie flat seat on in a non-business class cabin. So yeah. Yeah, Ojasvi says Thai leased these planes previously flown by Virgin. Ah, okay. That would explain it. Shall we transition to the next topic? Let's talk quickly. We have a few minutes to go. Let's talk about the new routes. So Lufthansa Allegris product is now available out of Frankfurt as well. Finally, hallelujah! Thank you very much. This was wonderful news to all of us because before this, the Allegris product obviously was on Munich. Actually, let's talk about the new routes first. So now Lufthansa will also fly this product out of Frankfurt on their new 787-9 aircraft. And the new routes announced were Toronto, Rio de Janeiro, Bogota, Hyderabad, Austin. The first one, Toronto, again, as an inaugural flight, already landed earlier today. So today was the first day. The others, like Rio, Bogota, Hyderabad, Austin, are all scheduled to come through December and onwards. I think Austin is the first one in December, just before the holidays, Christmas holidays, it starts. And then the other cities may sort of cascade slightly after that into 2026. And yeah, no first class configuration on this particular aircraft just yet, but the newer deliveries that they'll get off the 787-9 variants, and Lufthansa has quite a few of them ordered and waiting for Boeing to deliver, they will have the typical first class that we've seen flying out of Munich. And the Munich ones, obviously, if you know this, fly the A350-900 aircraft, and those aircraft they do have first class, dedicated first class as well, which is the typical one-to-one configuration just up front. So not a big first class cabin per se, just a one row, single row with the middle one getting the most amount of media because it's sort of the, what do they call it? The double feature, or the two seats in one cabin for passengers to travel together. Um, yeah, unfortunately, that's not available out of Frankfurt just yet, but it's coming soon. And all of these routes will complement the Munich. So Munich continues to deliver. Munich flights are from Vancouver, Toronto, Chicago, San Francisco, Newark, Miami, Shanghai, Tokyo, Cape Town, Bangalore. There you go. Yeah, that's so the Munich one was robust. Obviously, it started at Vancouver first last year. They added Toronto, Munich as well, and then after Toronto, Newark came through, and then a slew of others. So uh, pretty good network now. Four or five more cities out of Frankfurt have now been added, which is fantastic. The brain sort of the brain freeze will always be the 7 seat configurations they have of these Allegris product in business class, which to me is just like, why can't you make things simple? Whatever happened to the old adage of making decision making being simpler, charge us a little bit more and make the decision making simpler. I think they have completely, sort of, for a lack of better term, unbundled it back to the days where you just have to make more and more decisions. I think the more decisions you have to make, the more irrational you can be. So they make a little bit more money out of our decisions or indecisions, I suppose. But to have 7 seat configurations in business class. So when I'm redeeming out of an Aeroplan, I just typically um, have to pay for a lot of these seat configurations. If I want a little more room, if I want to be on the aisle with direct, if I want to be on the window side with direct aisle access, a little bit more room if I'm flying solo in the middle, and all kinds of configurations. So the new ones out of Frankfurt will be very exactly the same in business class. So there's no change. You would still have the decision making to do in terms of what kind of Allegra seat you want to pick and how much money you're willing to pay for these up charges on these seats in business class. Um, but as far as redeeming for Lufthansa Allegris product, you could try. Well, we've spoken about Aeroplan, United, Life Miles continues to offer decent Lufthansa space, but all without sounding biased, I feel like Aeroplan, it continues to be my preferred sort of program to book Lufthansa Allegris product, or Lufthansa period, simply because it's well, for now at least, we it's not part of your preferred partners. It's not part of the full dynamic range. It's So you can get it at predictable rates when you're booking business or even first class. Uh, Last minute availability is very consistent in Aeroplan, so you could do that. But I also wanted to, and I mentioned this in my post as well, it's a misnomer that Lufthansa, to book Lufthansa, it has to be T-3 or whatnot. At least when it comes to business class, you can book. I've seen availability. In fact, this morning when I was writing that post, I was seeing availability between, it's in my post, so you can look it up, Munich to Toronto, maybe, or Newark to Munich, or vice versa, showing up in March, showing up in March, April. Like there were multiple months. So I'm here searching in October, and things were showing up in February, March, and April. So it's not like for every Lufthansa booking, you have to wait for the last week or the last couple of days to book in. First class availability continues to be T-2 or even T-1, to be honest, out of a lot of the sort of Newark or JFK kind of thing. And I don't know if that has changed. I don't think I've actively searched for or seen anything, even luck by chance, 3 months out or 4 months out for Lufthansa. For those of you that search for or have searched for Lufthansa Allegris recently, let me know if you've seen something. But from what I understand, first class is very much a last minute booking only, whereas business class still sees a little more sort of spread out. At that 5 month mark is basically every time I've searched, I've noticed that in that 4 to 5 month window, I see some availability as well. I don't know if there's math or a pattern to it, but anecdotally, I have seen that 4 to 5 month window availability for Lufthansa as well as close-in, of course, for Lufthansa on Aeroplan. And on Aeroplan, these range, if you were doing anything sort of, say, Germany to East Coast, you're looking at about 70,000, and Germany to, say, Vancouver, you're looking at about 88,000, I think, is the redemption rate in business class, which is fantastic. I did talk a little bit about Swiss Census, the new route which was announced, Boston to Zurich, I think, and I was able to make the booking a few weeks ago. There's a whole YouTube video on the channel. You can go and check that out. But the seats were priced pretty crazy. The first row seats. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because, of course, Lufthansa Group. So I'm trying to think the seat pricing might be very similar, where if you were booking yourself into a Lufthansa Allegris and you wanted that first row, which is the premium business class seat, then you could be looking at paying as much as, say, a $900 Canadian or $1,000+ Canadian out of, say, a Toronto to Frankfurt, because that's what that Swiss ticket was for that first row in the Swiss census, which is the Allegris equivalent in Swiss. Um, so we'll have to wait and see. I should have clicked through and seen how much those seats are being priced at, but I didn't. And if you have noticed any seat pricing, or if you recall what your seat pricing was, if you've tried Allegris, then please do share with us. Unfortunately, I just haven't had the time or a chance to try any of the Allegris product with Lufthansa, but based on what I've seen on YouTube and all the other bloggers, it seems to be an elevated product, but just super reduced availability, especially when it comes to first class, because there's just only so many seats in first class, and even then, with the award space and whatnot, they are likely to keep first class window sides open, and the middle suite, which is literally the first class suite, is likely only open for an upcharge or a full pay upgrade out of paid business class. Uh, yeah, so that's the Allegris bit that I wanted to talk about. If you have direct experience, please feel free to type that in, or particularly if you have experience redeeming out of a United or a Life Miles. Do we have anybody here that has consistently used Life Miles, at least this year, 2025, and has seen Lufthansa availability be as consistent as it used to be before? I used to dabble in Life Miles maybe all the way up to COVID and whatnot. And then, sort of, once I dried out my points, there were enough other points to dabble into. So I've never gone back to Life Miles. So if you have been using Life Miles on Lufthansa, that would be great to sort of hear from you folks. In this case, no, those are the three. I mean, if I had enough United points, I'd probably do United as well. Oh yeah, the other forecast. This is more forecasting. I kind of alluded to it earlier as well. For now, Lufthansa is not part of preferred partner with Aeroplan, that dynamic chart, or the separate chart for preferred partners, which is pretty much fully dynamic. Um, I don't know how long that'll be the case. I don't have a date for you. I don't have any direct communication, but I've poked enough questions at the right people in Aeroplan, and based on all the veiled answers and sidestepping and tiptoeing that they've given me around it, it just seems like it's only time that Lufthansa will get tacked on with United and Emirates and Etihad and all of them into this preferred award chart. So yeah, as I wrote in my post, make hay while the sun shines. So if you have aspirations to get yourself on the Allegris product, you may want to book it in 2025 or early 2026, like super early 2026, because I have a feeling by summer, because Lufthansa went fully dynamic not too long ago, maybe a year before Aeroplan did. Once their program settles up, I think they'll start paying a little more attention to what kind of availability they're putting out of their program to partners. And yeah, in this case, Aeroplan might be a little more willing uh, to take them on if, I mean, I don't see a reason why United will be on there, because don't forget, United, Lufthansa, Air Canada already have a far, what do they call, a better recognition for each other's elites, like preferred partners already in that way as airlines. There's no reason why that preferred partner integration won't happen on the award side as well. But like I said, this is not coming as a direct communication from anybody in Aeroplan. I've asked them this point blank, and just the caginess around it seems to suggest that it's going to happen. They just don't know when, but it might be on the cards for 2026. So just putting it out there, since we were talking Lufthansa and Allegris, that if you have plans, you may as well try and book it now, if not early 2026. Veiled threats, you mean? No, there's no threats. And I mean, I don't think it's Aeroplan that's really going out there and saying, hey, join our preferred award chart or whatnot. But that template is built. And if you can connect the dots, when these three airlines are so aligned in, uh, you know, recognizing each other's elite members, recognizing in their own programs and giving them preferred treatment, why wouldn't they do the same on the award side, especially now that United has hopped on and United and Aeroplan are offering much better availability of each other's aircrafts, or strategically positioning their awards in a way that they can both make money on their preferred routes. Why wouldn't Lufthansa join in? And I think the only holdback was, I think, being the operative word here, is Lufthansa, once things settled down in their own dynamic chart world, in their own program, and the new delivery of these things, of these routes and flights in 2026 and beyond, we can definitely see, I can definitely forecast that it's going to happen. So uh, don't know how long we have, but at least I'll be making all of my Allegris booking for 2026. I do want to try them on. I just don't want to force myself, or don't want to do a special trip just to try them. That's not the kind of sort of experience I want. But I think my travels will bring me to a few routes that I can intentionally book, try and get in onto a Lufthansa Allegris product, particularly to India. For example, you've noticed how Lufthansa is doing a great job of serving the Indian market, be it out of Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, Hyderabad, and the Allegris product is now extended from Bangalore to Hyderabad as well, out of Frankfurt, Bangalore out of Munich. So there's no reason why I can't try one of those the next time I go to India. And he says that will be the time to truly leave Aeroplan. I think that's a bit dramatic, Andy. You know this. I know this. None of us are leaving Aeroplan anytime soon, unless you're being dead serious and are really vindictive and trying to prove a point, I guess, to Aeroplan. But I mean, Aeroplan is so entrenched in our everyday life here in Canada. It'll be very, very difficult for you to fully cut yourself out of Aeroplan's ecosystem. Can it be done? Of course. Are there people that are doing it? Probably. But for this points community that likes to leverage all the good things, I think there's a lot that is still there in Aeroplan that will keep us connected, keep us entrenched in here. Correct me if I'm wrong, Andy, but I think I don't think Lufthansa going on a preferred chart is the thing that'll, hate the term, but got to use it, break the camel's back in this case for you to leave Aeroplan. I think if you were really unhappy with Aeroplan and needed a reason to, next year's switch to SQCs and the way they are going to tie status to the ticketing should do it. I don't think folks will wait for this Lufthansa thing to happen before they decide to leave Aeroplan. You know what I mean? Right. All right. Good chat. Good chat. And yeah, happy long weekend. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Hope you guys relax and enjoy. And yeah, we'll connect again once again next Thursday with the new set of topics. Same forum, new topics. Take care. Cheers.